Hello, Chris from my Stamp Lady. I'm glad you've come by to stamp with me today. So today I'm going to be doing a technique called Inlaid Embossing, and I will be using the Bloomin' Love set, which coordinates with the Bloomin' Heart Thinlits. I will also be using the Sweet and Sassy Framelits and the Falling Petals embossing folder. So I'm going to first of all do the inlaid part, and to do this part I need to first of all stamp up a thin piece of Blushing Bride. You can find all of the directions and the sizes of paper that I used at my blog, mystamplady.com, with a printable PDF. I am stamping this heart image in Blushing Bride on Blushing Bride cardstock, and I'm rotating it around. I'm stamping it randomly so that it doesn't really look like a heart. It's just stamping the pattern onto the paper. Next step is to take and apply this. I'm going to just put some fast fuse on there. I'm going to mount that onto my 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of Whisper White cardstock. And after I've put this down onto the cardstock, I can see I need to trim this one side just a little bit. So I'm just going to grab in some scissors and do that. I must not have cut them exactly to the same size. And that does happen. Sometimes I'm just not as careful as others and get a little bit off, so I just trim that down. So now I'm going to place this into my Big Shot and putting so that I have, see, I'm going to put this down to where the petals are a little bit thicker in through the bottom here, and then you have them kind of spacing out as you go up. My platform is going to be the Big Shot platform, an acrylic pad, the folder with the paper, and you want to make sure that your paper is already adhered to the background, because when you put this through the Big Shot, after I've applied one more acrylic pad, it's going to impress them together. It's going to look like one piece of paper. Once you've taken that out, you have the pattern embossed into both pieces, and it kind of looks like one piece of paper. So I'm pulling in my background, my card base, and it's Blushing Bride. It's a piece of 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4 inches, and then folded to make the card base. So now these pieces that I'm using, the Falling Petals embossing folder, can be found in the Occasions catalog that's currently available through May 31st, 2017. And the other pieces that I'm using are from the annual catalog, which is also available through May 31st, 2017. So I've mounted that, and now I can set that aside. Now I'd like to do the heart portion of the card, and I'm using this very detailed die. So this one will need to be run through with the precision plate. So I'm going to place that down. This is going to be my little background heart that's going to help to show that really pretty detailed heart off better. So this is a framelit, and I do not want to run this through on the precision plate because it will warp my die and just shorten the life of that die. So I'm going to set that aside for right now. And then I'm going to run this one through. So my sandwich will be my platform with both tabs closed, my precision plate, my cardstock, and my detailed die with one additional acrylic plate on top. I did run that through twice, and I also like to look and just make sure that I can see that it's been cut before I take it apart, because otherwise I can just run it through again once while it's still put together. So I'm just trying to pop out with the die brush lots of those little pieces, and then after I do that I'll separate them apart. Remove that exterior, and now I'm going to just go in and brush. You want to be somewhat careful because you don't want to rip any of those delicate heart pieces, and if there's some that just aren't coming by kind of popping them out like this, I'll often take a paper piercer and just push them out, and that's usually all it takes. With the rose red piece, I've removed all those little extra parts, so I'm going to set that aside. On a piece of Whisper White cardstock, I am inking this heart up again in Blushing Bride, and I'm stamping that just right onto the Whisper White cardstock. This time I'm using the magnetic platform, and I have an acrylic plate, and with the solid heart from the Sweet and Sassy heart set, I will be cutting out this heart. It is a little bit smaller than my stamped image, so the entire heart will be cut out. And then the Blushing Bride heart. Let's run that through the Big Shot. I pulled in the rose red ink, and I need to stamp some of the flowers, the rose red flowers. I'm going to stamp one of the large ones, And then I will need 3 small ones. I'll just quickly stamp those. I have the Love You from the stamp set, and this is also in rose red, and this is my sentiment that I'll stamp across the front of my heart. And because it's over the Blushing Bride, it shows up nicely. And now I have XOXO, the Hugs and Kisses, and so let's stamp that right underneath. There we go. These 2 small flower dies are included in the Bloomin' Heart set, and so I'm just going to line those up and put with a magnetic platform, run them through the Big Shot. When I have a die that is as detailed as this one is, I like to use a dotted adhesive, and so I'm just placing this over my silicone pad, or the little silicone sheet, and that way the adhesive doesn't stick where I don't want it to. And we're just going to place it over that solid heart, and you can see how that shows off the details of that detailed die really nice. Otherwise I just worry it'll get lost in the card. Now I'm switching to the fast views, and I am mounting down this heart on the left side here. I want to go in and mount these little flowers, and I'm going to just use mini glue dots to do that. And you can line the flowers up over the little open spaces that you can see here. So that's a one that lines up. And one thing I like to do is I will also take and just kind of roll up the edges so that you can distinguish it from the background. Okay, and here's the large flower. You don't need to worry about putting anything over this open space, because that one is going to be, that one's going to be covered. Let's embellish those flowers with a few of the pearls from the Pearl Jewel embellishments. With this Tip Top Taupe thin stripe ribbon, I'm going to fold one end, and then from the corners up to the center, I've trimmed it so that I get that kind of notched look. Now, one thing that I did, and I'm going to do the other one once I've decided how long I want it to be. I want this to look like it's cinched in the center. When I was practicing for this card, I tried to do a knot, but it was just too thick, and it made my heart stand up too high. I didn't like it, so I've decided to just take a staple in there, and I did another one right here, another one right next to it. And I'm just stapling that cinched look into it. It's going to be covered. The staple's going to be covered, so I'm not going to worry about that. But I'm just stapling that. Gives it a little cinched look. And then I like the way that looks behind the heart. So, and then just taking where those staples are and a couple of mini glue dots. Put one there and one here. And then just placing that down right here where my heart is going to go over. I've added a few dimensionals to the back of the heart, so we'll just take that off and cover up those staples. And I do have, cinch that a little bit more. Looks like I didn't quite get it all in there, so we're going to fudge it a little bit. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take another mini glue dot with my scissor, just kind of tuck that down, and we'll go under there with the mini glue dot and kind of make it, there we go, look at that. And now I still have it cinched a little bit more. So I just play with it until you have it how you want it to look. I didn't want it just coming straight out from the back. I thought it looked like it needed a little bit of texture or cinching, otherwise it was just kind of a plain ribbon back there. And then I want that a little bit shorter. There we go. And let's see, how about this side? I think I'll make this side just a bit shorter too. It's amazing the things that you can do with mini glue dots. Okay, so there you go. You have an inlaid embossing technique with the Bloomin' Heart and the Bloomin' Love set. If you have any questions about what I've done, don't hesitate to contact me, Chris, at mystamplady.com, and you can find all the supplies for this card in my online store at shopwithmystamplady.com.